All right, good morning. We'll go ahead and get started. I appreciate you all joining us this morning. Unfortunately, we had an officer-involved shooting last night, but also that incident led to a criminal homicide, so I'll provide you some information related to that incident last night. Major Truitt just disseminated a paper copy of what we will push out as a press release here in just a few minutes. I will recap the same information you have in front of you. I will pretty much read this statement, but I think it's important for you all to have it because, as you probably know and will understand, we are running an investigation as well as the SBI, so there's certain information and details you all won't receive right now, but there's stuff that we can release. I wanted to make sure you had that. All right. For those who don't know me, I'm Curtis Cheeks III. I am the Chief of Police here at the Hight Point Police Department. Yesterday, Sunday, May 17th at approximately 7:57 p.m., Hight Point police officers responded to a domestic disturbance called for service at 4524 Jamesford Drive. Initial information relayed to dispatchers reported that there was an active assault in progress involving a knife. The information was provided to a neighbor by two juveniles who had fled from that residence. Officers arrived on scene at approximately 8:07 p.m. and knocked on the front door but received no response from inside. Two additional officers went around to the rear of the residence and observed signs of a violent assault. At that time, the two officers at the front door forced entry into the home and encountered an adult male who was covered in blood and armed with a knife. Officers gave multiple commands to that individual, which he ignored before advancing toward the officers, resulting in them both firing their weapons, striking the suspect. Officers then began rendering aid to that individual, but he was later pronounced deceased at the scene. Officers immediately began checking the residence for additional people and discovered an adult female toward the rear of the house suffering from life-threatening injuries as a result of being stabbed. She was pronounced deceased a short time later from her injuries. As I just stated a moment ago, the Hight Point Police Department's Violent Crimes Unit will conduct an investigation into the criminal homicide of the female. I requested the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation to conduct an investigation into the officer-involved shooting, which they have assumed. No officers were physically injured during this incident. The four officers have been placed on administrative leave, which is our standard protocol for incidents like this. The names of the parties involved or the officers involved are being withheld at this time. As I just stated, this is a very active investigation from two different perspectives. However, there is no threat to that neighborhood or the community, and we are not seeking any additional persons at this time. I doubt I'll be able to answer very much from you all, but I will take a couple questions if you have them, if I need to clarify something. Anyone?
I don't know, you're probably not going to be able to answer this, but do you know if you said it was a domestic incident, was this a married couple?
The indications are they were a married couple.
Was there anyone else inside of the home, children, anything of that nature?
No, other than the people that are identified in this, the two children that fled from the home that resulted in the 911 call, and then the two adults that officers encountered once they arrived.
And the woman who was found inside the home, you think these were stab wounds based off of the knife, or your sugar?
Officers' observations, yes.
I wanted to ask about the people involved. Are you able to share their ages or anything of that nature?
Not at this time.
Or any of their names?
I'm sorry?
Or their names?
No, not at this time. No.
So we can say they're adults, and they're all adults.
The two that are adults are indicated as adults here in the release. Yeah. Who we have associated right now are the two adults and then the two juveniles with that residence.
Are you aware of any history with this residence in the past?
That's one of the things, obviously, to be looked at by our investigators that we'll get into later. Again, keep in mind we're still very early on, but despite the death of the female, we would still do an investigation as we would into any death.
And I know you can't share more, but the children, they're safe.
Yes, safe is relative at this point. Obviously, it's a very traumatic event for them, but no harm was caused to them during this incident, I think is what you were asking.
I wanted to ask too, because recently we've had just incidents involving juveniles, adults, just in the triad. Just your thoughts on like crime, violent crime, things of that nature.
What I'll say in regards to that is, this is a isolated incident to this residence, so I don't think it would be fair to include it with some of the other things that we've seen that are completely related to other things.
Absolutely, but to piggyback on that and get a little bit more granular, we have seen incidents of domestic violence in this area recently, so can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and that's something we'll talk about in more detail later, but obviously, we have a strong partnership with the Family Justice Center. We have one here in Hight Point, for that reason. Domestic incidents can often be volatile, and you just don't know, what's going on inside of a household. That's one of the reasons why, again, we make an emphasis to make sure people understand the resources that are available here in this community, in Greensboro as well. Charlotte standing up a very large Family Justice Center. So the domestic component that occurs inside households is something that I think all of law enforcement now is very aware of.
And you said 2 juveniles fled from the home, but can we confirm that those are the children of the people who were inside the home?
Right now, I'm just going to leave it as 2 juveniles fled from the home. We still have some details to work out. I'd rather make sure that when we provide certain information, it's accurate versus having to come back to you guys and correct something. All right.
One quick thing, at the end it says, 4 officers placed on administrative leave. Are you able to share if that's paid or not?
Yes, they're paid leave. All right, again, I appreciate you all joining us this morning. Hate the circumstances, obviously, but thank you all for taking the time to join us this morning. Thank you.